Hey guys, thanks for stopping in today. This is Chris with eXp Educators, and we are very excited to have Brooke Wyatt on the Zoom. And to tell you a little bit about Brooke, she has been with our organization now for a little over 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. And Brooke was an independent broker. She's an app developer. And I'm just going to let Brooke tell her story today. And I'm just going to kind of get out of the way because you guys hear enough from me. So let's hear from Brooke Wyatt and let her kind of go through her thing and enjoy this time learning about her and her journey with eXp and her Bexa 360 app. So go ahead, Brooke. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. So I think I should, start at the beginning when I first heard about eXp. And I was introduced by Steve Minton, who said, come and watch this video and tell me what you think. And I had been independent for 11 years at that point. So I was not at all looking to join anything. Plus I was developing this app. So I really didn't want to join another company. And long story short, I ended up telling him that the video looked great, and if you were already a captive agent with Keller Williams or C21 or Remax or any of those companies, that it certainly looked like it was a great fit for captive agents. But for independents, I was out. I didn't want to pay a cap, didn't see anything of how it would benefit me to pay a cap again, and pretty much told them that they would have to pry my central lock out of my cold dead hands to get me to go to be a captive agent somewhere else. So I ended up humoring him and going and talking to Amanda Hurd. And I don't even know if you were there that day. Were you there that day that I went in? I don't think you were.
I actually believe I was, but I was in a different meeting because we had several of them going that day.
And Amanda and Jeff Willems, and met Jeff and met Amanda. And she said, what do you want to do? Do you want to start a team again? And at that time, I had 3 or 4 agents on my small independent. I had an admin who was a practicing admin and paying her, and but still reaping some benefits from having a small agency. Didn't charge them very much to be there, just basically so that I could go on vacation and still make a little bit of money off of their transactions, right? So it was about as cheap as you could get for being an agent. And I just told her I still didn't want to pay a cap. That was my big thing. I'm an independent. I've been independent for so long. I'm used to running my own show. What do you really have to offer me? And she said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I mean, I'm doing this app. That's a big thing to me. And can't really tell y'all what it is yet, but it's got a lot of great implications. And I don't know that I want to build a team again, or maybe I do. I don't know. And she said, well, if you were going to build a team, what would it look like? How would you go about it? And I said, I don't know. I've read the Keller Williams books and, a fan of all that, but I don't know if I have it in me to do that again. And she said, well, if you do, what do you think about me helping you grow that? And I thought to myself, why would you help me? Yeah. I'm your competition. She's like, this isn't how this works at eXp. You're not my competition. I help you succeed and you help me succeed. When you succeed, I succeed.
Right.
And it flipped a switch in my head, Chris. It really, really did. It literally flipped a switch, and everything I thought about competition and growth and management of everything, it all just went to, wow, this is so collaborative. She said, no, you don't understand. When you succeed, I succeed. And when I thought about it in those terms, then I understood why she was willing to help me with scripts and help me team build and help me do all of those things. It was such a collaborative effort. And I saw in that instant, I was sold, because I could understand then why it would work so well with my agency, even if my app failed, how I could make this grow with this team, with you, with
Mm-hmm.
Steve, with Amanda helping, and how you all were legitimately vested in my success.
Mm-hmm.
Then it really kicked in and the wheels started to turn, and I thought, well, I can't let this opportunity slip. But I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting when it becomes, a rising tide takes all boats with it.
Exactly.
And that's really how we operate. And for a lot of folks, it seems like a story until it's real.
I mean, basically it's those things. It was the collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
It's two words basically that sold me on eXp: technology and collaboration.
Awesome.
And those two things together, when I realized that it was a whole effort of everyone together helping, and saw how everybody was so free with their scripts and how they were getting clients. And I just had never been in an atmosphere like that before. Walk into a C21 office, into their top producer's office and say, hey, can you help me? What happened, right?
They'll say hi.
Yeah, they'll say hi. Yeah. Hi, how you doing?
Yeah. Try this.
Right. So exactly. So that's why I felt like it was different. I'm sure that you've probably experienced the same thing.
Yeah, a little bit. We've had some great collaborative experiences. Rodney and Amanda are fantastic leaders. Jeff and Marcy, obviously Brent Gove, and the whole gang above us that we're in business with. They're just, they're here for you, at the drop of a hat. If they're not working with somebody else, they have time for you.
Right.
And that's just awesome. And that's great. That's kind of a neat part of the story. Hey, Brooke, let's talk about your Bexa 360 app, if that's okay with you. And I have a marginal understanding, to say the least. Obviously, you're the developer and you have a greater understanding than I ever possibly could have. But let's talk about maybe the benefits let's start with the benefit for the client. If I walk into a client's house and say, hey, we're going to list your house, we're going to do this and this and this, and I have this fantastic new app, and the client says, why are we using this?
Right.
Help me understand. Help me help them.
The benefit, right. The benefits to the seller at this point are that it's safer and more convenient for the seller. So when you're an agent and you've got the Bexa 360 app, when you get to the property, it sends a message to the seller and lets them know that you're there.
Cool.
As a buyer's agent. Okay.
Oh, wow.
As soon as you leave, it sends them another text and lets them know that you're gone. So if you scheduled an hour showing on that property, and you're only there for 5 minutes, and the seller's got 3 kids and 2 dogs in the car, they know that you come home. That showing's over, and they're welcome to come home to the property.
Cool.
The biggest and best part of this is that agents will no longer be able to give codes to buyers and be able to walk through properties. That won't happen anymore, because the agent will actually get the code until they get to the property. So we will not be sending emails with codes or lockbox information to the seller. So if you can imagine, if you're a seller in this industry or in this market right now, or have for years and years, you probably didn't even know, if you're a seller, that your access information, your alarm codes, how to get into your house, are all sent to buyer's agents via email.
Yep.
So your email, if you're a buyer's agent, you have been for years, right? Or an agent, and you're showing property. Yeah, you've sold a few houses. So all of those, won't mention names, but all of those inbox or emails from these showing companies sent to your inbox contain lots of sensitive information for the seller, right?
Yeah. The keys to the castle.
Alarm codes, when they're going to be gone. So what we've done is we've taken that out of the email, and we've ensured that an agent has to accompany a buyer to a house, because they won't even get the code until they get to the house. So when the agent gets to the house, they'll get a notification that says, hi, you're at 123 Main Street. Here are your showing instructions. It's all right there on the app for them. And here are your showing instructions. Here's the code to get in, and that's it. And then, assuming that they're there with the buyer, obviously. So They're not going to be able to just say, okay, buyer, I'll meet you at 2 o'clock at this house. But wait, I'm sorry, I can't go right now. I'm just going to give you the code to get in. That won't happen anymore because they won't get the code until they're there.
Oh, that's a great feature. I can tell you as a listing agent, you know, when I would be checking vacant properties or whatever, it's very shocking to walk in, not to see the door unlocked, but to walk in and see a husband and wife, and that's it. And they go, oh, well, so-and-so said it was cool that I came in. Well, that's a vacant property, and that's not the end of the world.
Sure.
Hypothetically, my house, they do that. What if they let the cat out? What if they have nefarious activities on their mind?
Let me give you another example of vacant property. I had a listing a few months ago where it was a vacant property, but it was rehabbed, gorgeous rehab. The agent calls me for a walkthrough and says, did the owner change the lockbox? I said, yes, he absolutely did. Agent says, okay, well, can I have it? And I said, are you down there with them? And he said, well, I have another agent with them right now. Can I go ahead and have the code? And I said, well, great. Well, send me that agent's information. I'll be happy to give them the code. And sure enough, the agent on the phone said, well, it's really not another agent. It's my wife. Okay. So, and you and I both know it probably wasn't even the wife on the phone, that he probably just had the clients there. So what happens when the client walks in and decides, you know what, I want a nicer dishwasher. I'm going to scrub a dent in this or make a problem here or there just to get more money off at closing. You don't know what people are going to do. They should be accompanied by their agents, hands down.
Correct. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So that's really for the seller. That's a fantastic. It's more than just a feature. That's a lot of features. Sure. As for the agent, I think that says that I care about my clients.
Exactly.
That's what I hear. I hear I care.
Exactly.
More than just I'm just going to put a lockbox on here to. You're secure now that there's a lockbox. As we know, it is a level of security, but I don't know that it is secure necessarily. And your system sounds incredible.
If you have a lockbox, unless there's different kinds of lockboxes out there, but in our market, it's a central lock. I can still walk up with a key and open a central lock. I think they're kind of doing away with that now.
Yeah.
But you know, it used to be that anybody could walk up at any time. And if I have a central lock on my phone, I don't know that I can walk up to any central lock if I'm not scheduled and not open that lockbox. Right. I don't know. I think they are working on their own showing service, so I don't know. But you know, maybe they're taking care of that. I have no idea. But I would say that mine is great because it doesn't matter what lockbox it is. Doesn't matter. I don't care if it's it's not coded for any particular lockbox, and it's also not coded for any particular MLS. So we're not in with all of those, that bigger thing right now. We're not doing any of that. It's just simply, doesn't matter what kind of lockbox you have, doesn't matter what kind of MLS you're on, or whether or not they cooperate, doesn't matter. We've set this up so that it doesn't take any of that stuff into consideration.
That is really, really, really cool. And so this sounds, I'm not the techiest guy walking around, as you all know. How easy is it to use? If I'm an agent, how easy is this program to use?
Oh, it's super easy. It's as easy as it gets. One thing we've made it so that the agent doesn't have to do anything to notify the seller. Perfect. So when the buyer's agent walks up to the property, it automatically does it for them. They don't have to check in or check out or do any of that. It is, it just works. It works seamlessly.
Cool.
So, there are, this is strictly our MVP, our minimum viable product. So we basically have a lot of work to do on some of the features. It's not as beefy as Showing Time or any of these other ones that are out in the market right now. And that's okay with us, because I think we're doing something that's remarkably different than everybody else.
It sounds pretty groundbreaking. really, at the end of the day.
We think it's fantastic for the agent, and we're also implementing in the next couple of versions, we will have something about a third-party app to make agents more safe. So I'm sorry, a third-party link to make agents more safe. So let's say, Chris, you call me off of Zillow, or, well, not Zillow anymore, but anywhere else that you're getting leads, right?
Sure.
Homes.com or realtor.com, and you want to come see this house of mine that I've got listed, and I don't want to meet you at the office anymore with COVID or whatever else. I don't necessarily want to meet you at the office. And let's just face it, agents don't meet clients at offices. They never really have. They've never embraced that.
No.
Clients want immediate gratification, right? They want to be there right then.
Yeah.
So
get them in the house.
So what our app will do is that we're going to send a third-party link for you. So I can say to you, hey, Chris, I'll go ahead and show you that house at 5:30. That's not a problem. But here, I'm going to send you a third-party link. Please upload your information so that it's our office policies that we have to keep that third party here and keep that information safe. So you're not sending it just to me. You're sending it to a third party so that basically we can make sure that our agents are safe. And that's our office policy.
Yeah.
And then you, Chris, are going to open the link. You're going to take a selfie and put a copy of your driver's license in there.
Yep.
And we're going to send the information. We're going to verify who you are, and then we're going to send that information to the agent.
Nice.
So no longer will an agent just have to just take it at face value as to who somebody is. And we've all done it. Any agent that says that they don't do it that way, I don't believe that 1,000% that that's exactly what they've always done, 100% of the time. It just doesn't work that way.
Sure.
All of us have jumped and run to show properties.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and put ourselves in positions that we probably should not have.
A tad awkward.
Yeah. I think that this will really help. And we're looking forward to being able to implement that system pretty quickly.
Cool.
And, yeah. So what questions do you have about those two things?
No, that just sounds fantastic. I mean, it just sounds like it's safer for the sellers. It's safer for the agents. It's really safer for the client as well. The buyer themselves, that, hey, if somebody does something, I was there from here to here. I wasn't there, I wasn't there in the afternoon, and there were 3 showings between me. I didn't break your vase.
That is exactly, we can keep that data for authorities. And that's another thing I wanted to touch on is the data itself. I've had, some people ask, okay, well, you're with eXp, so why would we give my information to you? It's the same as if I was giving it to Showing Time. And the difference is this: I have no interest in your data. I don't want it. I don't want everything that we're doing on this service. And eXp has helped to help me understand how collaborative efforts like that work for agents, and that I want to make sure that the agents are taken care of with this app. So all the data that we're collecting on here is strictly to help the agent.
Cool.
It's not to extrapolate the data and market to your sellers and do all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I get that. I can see that concern, but at the end of the day, if you're doing a good job, your seller's staying with you and your buyer's staying with you.
The one thing that I'll focus on really is that this app needed to be done by an agent, and that agent is always going to have an affiliation. So there was a need in the market that I felt that was not being fulfilled, and that was towards the sellers. All of my sellers had the same complaint. Are they gone? Can I go home? Do you know if they showed up? All of these constant questions for the past 15 years that I've had from sellers that I couldn't answer legitimately without having a fancy lockbox on the door, and not every person wants that. And the capabilities between those two systems talking to each other really didn't talk to each other very, very well. With showing services and the central lockboxes. But I think that we've been able to kind of curtail that. And I just want to put it out there that I really think that it was an agent's responsibility and need to be able to put this into service with all of the features that we're going to want as agents and our clients want. And the bigger tech companies, I never felt like they understood what it was that we did on the day-to-day, because they didn't have those gripes.
Mm-hmm. They haven't gotten the phone call.
They haven't gotten the phone calls. Exactly. What happened? Why is my trinket in a different spot and all that stuff?
Yeah. Nice. Anything else you can add about the app before we hop back into just a couple more things about your journey with eXp?
The one more thing probably I could say about the app is that I've had some people say, well, people have Ring doorbells and that kind of thing. That's all great, and Google and all that stuff, but mine actually does it around the house. So for example, you may have a Ring doorbell that can see where they are around the house, but what if they're standing on the side talking about the house for another 20 minutes before the person gets home? We'll be able to track all of that. And it's nice for the seller to know how long somebody was there. I can then say to a seller, hey, listen, if they're only there for 5 minutes and we know that they're only there for 5 minutes, guess what? They're probably not that interested in your house. Yeah.
If you have 10 showings that are 5 minutes long, you may have a problem with the interior there.
Exactly.
Or at least the price for the value is maybe not quite there.
Right.
Well, cool.
So I hope that helps a little bit.
No, that's great. I mean, that's just fantastic. You've been able to run parallel tracks, doing your app and doing your real estate, and getting it all put together here. Any kind of like for lack of a better term, any surprises or bonuses since you've come to eXp that you weren't really expecting? It just kind of showed up, and you're like, oh wow, that's really cool. I had never given that any thought.
The stock.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The stock's kind of a bonus.
The stock was a huge bonus. Actually, I had just decided that I was going to start putting some of my commissions into the stock.
Sure.
And, when I started doing that, it was like, wow, everybody's starting to understand that this is here to stay. We're not fly by night. It's not MLM, all of that stuff. Everybody kind of gets it now. That was the big surprise. I thought, that's great. That worked out perfectly. Yeah,
you kind of look up and you're like, oh wow, this is not a couple $100 anymore. It's I can actually go do something with this. Yeah, it's not a gift card from Starbucks. Let's put it that way. There's nothing wrong with gift cards from Starbucks, but since that's what a lot of people get when they do whatever they do, where they do it. Okay, that's cool. Well, I appreciate your time today. Like to kind of wrap it up. Any last thoughts of, if I'm watching this, what would you say to an agent watching this, aside from check in and certainly look at Bexa 360?
Oh, you know what? Actually, I would add one more thing.
Oh, please go ahead.
An independent, the best thing that I could say for another agency that's an independent is that I had a great agent that I coached and was hopeful that he'd stay, and he was so fantastic he went out on his own. And I feel like with eXp that once you see the ecosystem and once you understand the growth and the collaboration, like I said, and the warmth from all the other agents, that I don't think that had I been with eXp at that time, that even if he would have gone on his own, I still would have been able to reap some benefit from coaching and teaching and doing all that. Yeah. So again, when they leave, you're still vested in their success, right?
Oh,
but
totally.
when an agent that I coach leaves my company, am I really vested in their success anymore?
Not so much.
No. So I could have taken him inside eXp, helped him grow to a point where he wanted to be on his own, start his own team. Great. And then he could have left and still been within the eXp ecosystem where we're still collaborating, where we're still joining each other and doing all those things. And then I could still reap the benefits of his production.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's funny you say that, because I know with Rodney and Amanda, they've had a couple people do that. That just, they're like, hey, I love your road, but I want to take my road a little bit. And they're still coaching the same way, and everything's still about the same. And it gives that agent that freedom. It gives you that freedom as well. And and probably a little, I get where you're coming from. We've all been there. You get somebody who's really going, and they're like, hey, this has been a lot of fun, and I'll see you around because I'm doing something. They just kind of spirit away. And that's the end.
Then they really are your competition, right?
Sure.
And here it's just not that way.
No.
So I would say to any independent team that's really on the fence about coming, that there is no way on an independent small scale that you can offer what eXp offers to agents. It's just not possible. I was paying $800 a month to KV Core it was called Conversion back then. KV Core way back when I had my team, and they didn't even use it. Couldn't get them to use it. So I was just dumping money. I was using it, but nobody else was. So, I think that on a grand scale, they're going to find eXp, and you should hope that you're in front of that ball rolling instead of, you should make sure that you're not going to get, I guess I should say, behind the ball rolling instead of in front of it. You need to make sure that you're on the side that's flowing your way instead of without, right?
Yeah. Well, we always like to say, if you knew what eXp could do for you, you'd already be here.
Exactly.
And it's catchy, but it's honesty at the end of the day. Well, Brooke, I know you're super busy today. I know you got appointments. I want to thank you for your time, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you having me on today.